Welcome to this week's episode of Messin' with the Mafia. It was another lonely night playing the gumshoe in the big city. Times are tough. Haven't had a client in a couple of weeks, so money is spread a little bit thin. So it really didn't make much sense for me to be spending my dough to keep myself liquored up. But like I said, times is tough. I don't know where this dame blows into my office like a whole lot of trouble. Don't really like trouble. Don't need trouble. But I sure have a hard time staying away when trouble wears a red dress. Real easy on the eyes. The type that can get a sap to empty his wallet and leave his wife and kids before he finishes his lunch break. She sits down like she's welcome, like she never gets turned down. She reaches in her purse and grabs a small cigar, then puts it to her candy apple red lips and looks at me.
Give a lady a light, mister?
I lean forward and strike a match on the side of the matchbox. I lean in further to light her smoke. She takes a puff, inhales deeply, and then she starts to speak.
Detective Jackson Talladega?
Who wants to know?
The name's Catalina Brown.
Well, what do you do, Miss Brown?
Mrs. Brown, detective.
Excuse me, Mrs. Brown. You'll have to forgive me. I haven't had my tonic this hour. I unfold out my chair and make towards a large whiskey bottle near the back of the office. Never really been shy about it, so I pours mine straight into the glass. Take a big swig.
What does the lady have to do to get a drink around here?
What do you have, Mrs. Brown?
I love whiskey and Coke.
Yeah? How do you take it?
On the rocks.
She hasn't been here for 5 minutes and she's already gotten me to give up my last Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, the only drink that quenches, refreshes, and tastes great. I pour it into her glass with the whiskey and drop 2 cubes of ice in. I hand it to her and I return to my seat. I don't have a lot of spare time in my schedule for married broads, Mrs. Brown. What do you want? Why don't you cut to the chase?
I want to hire you.
No kidding.
If you let me finish, detective, I want to hire you to investigate my husband.
Who's your husband? And why do you want me to snoop around him?
Phineas Brown.
The mob boss?
He's a businessman.
Yeah, and I'm a fish. Why do you want him investigated?
I suspect him of moonlighting around town at night with other women.
Take a number, sister. Everybody's got problems. I always figured that came with the territory when you married a mob boss.
Businessman, detective. He really don't like it when people call him a mob boss. It'd be a crying shame if I had to mention that's what you think of him.
So what makes you think that I would take a gig like that?
I can pay you $500. Half now, half when you're done. By the looks of things, Mr. Talladega, it doesn't seem like business has been beaten down your door.
Fine. Money, booze, and dames have always been my weaknesses. What can you tell me about his schedule?
As far as I know, he spends most of his days at the office. He tends to spend his evenings at O'Connell's watering hole off of Calhoun. If he isn't at the pub, sometimes he's drunk at the office.
Anything else you could think of that would help?
Don't let him see you. He has a terrible temper.
She sets a small yellow envelope containing half the payment on the desk next to her unfinished drink.
I'll be in touch, detective.
She gets up and leaves my office. The only thing is, she left all her troubles with me.
You know, everyone knows the importance of taking a break every once in a while when you're working. Well, the same thing holds true if you're having fun. Now, that's why plays have intermissions. And during the intermission, you'll find the nearby fountain where they serve Coca-Cola is a mighty popular place. A sparkling glass of ice-cold Coke is a sparkling addition to the festivity and the excitement of opening night. Coke has a bright flavor, a distinctive flavor all its own that has never been equaled. It's bracing, too. Coca-Cola gives you a bit of quick energy that brings you back so refreshed, so quickly, and with as few calories as half an average juicy grapefruit. So at intermission time or any time, pause and refresh. Stop at the fountain where Coke is served. Then you can relax with the most asked-for soft drink in the whole world, bright and bracing Coca-Cola. Give yourself a break. Have a Coke.
Later, I end up on the outside of Phineas Brown's office. After I cased O'Connell's place and Brown didn't turn up, I figured I'd give his office a try. It's dark, except for the lamp on his desk. He's sitting with a large bottle on the desk and a glass next to it. He hasn't moved since I got here. Something ain't right. Things ain't adding up. I get closer. He never moves. Not even once. I get close enough to write my name on the window from the fog from my breath. He still doesn't move. Maybe he's passed out. No, I don't think so. Briefly shine a light through the window. He's not sleeping. He's been murdered. His chair sits in a puddle of his own blood, and his drink looks like it's watered down too. Don't like them odds. I'm being set up. I need to scram, quick like. All of a sudden, lights snap on, point straight in my face.
Don't move, pal. We got guns on you. What are you doing outside the boss's office? The boss don't like mugs looking in on him.
Gotta think fast, Jackson Talladega. If they look through this window and see their dead boss, I'm as good as dead too.
Next time on Jackson Talladega, Detective for Hire.
Yeah. Thought you'd get away, see? Yeah.
I thought I could trust you, Jackson Talladega.